The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Hey, make sure if you have an iPhone or Android phone to download the Stitcher Smart Radio app. I have it. I use it all the time. And put in promo code DAVID. You'll automatically have our show added to your favorites. You'll also be entered to win $100. You can also go to Stitcher.com/David Pakman Show. You know, we've been getting a lot of comments about our Morality with Motamedi segment, where producer Louis Motamedi gives us his insights into a number of moral and ethical dilemmas. And Joe wrote me and said, I think the questions you're asking Louis about cutting off his toe and such are disturbing. You're asking soul-searching questions that should only be asked to a higher power, God. Louis has shown his honesty in this grilling, and yet you seem to make him out as a fiend. Your negative reaction to his answers would suggest that he should lie to satisfy moral attitude. Shame on you. You know what?
Thank you, Joe.
If the problem is that we're not talking about God enough when we do the Morality with Motamedi segment, this is probably not the right show for you.
The problem is that you're just an evil, sadistic person, David.
Isn't that a good point? Why would we be talking about... That seems like the easy way out, to just say, well, what would God want? That's not this show. What other segments do we defer to what God would want? Why would we do it on Morality with Motamedi?
I think generally people just get a kick out of the Morality with Motamedi segments.
Apparently not, Joe. Here's this week's Morality with Motamedi, Louis. You and your son are prisoners in a Nazi concentration camp. A sadistic guard who you already know has killed many, many people tells you next is your son. Would you kill your son yourself as painlessly as possible to save him from potentially a very brutal, painful killing by the guard? Or do you just hope that the guard will kill your son in a humane way or maybe change his mind? What do you do, Louis? Do you take your son out yourself in a way that is maybe less brutal?
Couldn't do it.
I couldn't either.
No way.
This is an easy one for me. I just could not do it. And then the question is, well, are you not leaving your son to a possible fate of an absolutely brutal, painful, tortured death?
Yes.
I see it. I couldn't do it. Because you know what? In the end, I can't say with certitude 100% that my son was going to die.
Right.
I understand the guard has killed other people. What if the Allied...
The Russians may come over the hill at any second.
What if the Allied forces come in the day before that happens? I don't think I could do it and realistically feel like I was actually doing something positive. Maybe people will disagree on this one. I know that on the internets, if you look on the Google, there's a lot of different stuff on this one. Not everybody agrees. But I just couldn't do it.
No way. I think we're in agreement here. There are I think there's a couple movies where there's a horror scene like this, and a bunch of people kill themselves. There's one, I forget what it's called. I don't think it was a great movie. It was some alien invasion movie. I think it was possibly based off a Stephen King novel. And these people hear these horrible noises coming, and they kill themselves. I think there's one person left. And then they realize it's like tanks. It's the army coming in to save them. And then, well...
It just doesn't seem that far-fetched. I would have trouble saying that I know that I'm helping my son by doing that. This is a straightforward one. I don't think there's much else to discuss on this one for me. But if people have other comments, other considerations that should be made, please send them in, david@davidpakman.com.